Coach Vanderbilt's offense, but what is their defense?
Yeah, really veteran group, I think. Just looking at it today, I think there's like 8 of the 12 guys up front have already graduated. There's a lot of faces that we've played. Certainly since I've been here, it's a long, athletic group that plays extremely hard.
Coach, this offense has been rolling these past few weeks here, scoring tons of points. Just for these final 2 games here, a Vandy environment that has, kind of excelled this year. What are you looking for this offense to excel on the road in another hostile environment?
Yeah, stay aggressive, focus on execution. Again, for us, there was a point in time in this season where there was no time to think about anything other than just improvement and taking one day at a time. And so that, I think, is the challenge now. We all know what we're playing for, but it's going to come down to having a great, I know it's coach speak, right, but a great finished week of preparation, focus on the execution, and sticking to really what's gotten us in this position.
Coach, you talk about the experience of the line. What else kind of sets them apart that presents challenges?
Yeah, really well coached. I mean, I think we know Clark Lee and his staff have done a great job. There is a ton of pressure when they need to pressure, but they also keep things in front of them. So I think it's this balance, certainly from a play caller standpoint, but also quarterback standpoint and players of being patient, taking what they give them, and choosing the right time to take the shots downfield, if you will.
Coach, the wide receiver improvement, how much of that is just individual guys getting better? How much of it's the changes in the offense? How much of it's Cutter playing so well? Is all three? Like, what has spurred that group, I guess?
I just think, being unselfish is the starting point, in a way, just maybe because, there wasn't maybe any one single guy that just took it over initially. I think, so much of the receiver play goes down to embodying the whole position, if you will, physicality on the perimeter. Like, that's been the starting point with that group, which has created explosive plays, the focus on just execution, playing fast. I'm just proud of the group as a whole because it just seems like every week somebody new is ready to step up when we need them, and I think that's the mark of a great unit.
In that room specifically, Jamari Macklin posted something this week about his impact off the field and how maybe he hasn't had the most productive year on the field, but he feels like he's made an impact on this program and on this fan base. What can you say about Jamari and how he has had an impact this year?
Yeah, I just think, a lot of learning lessons, that happen in this environment that you can't maybe get other places. And Jamori's a guy that's been through it. He's worked as hard as anybody else to come out here and be as productive as he can. And, it maybe hasn't happened in a lot of ways how he wanted it to, but his influence on his team's been tremendous. But there's another guy who could have shut it down 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and like in back-to-back games in critical situations is there still making plays for us. And so I just, again, I'm appreciative of those guys, that group. I've coached them for 8 to 10 years. It's sometimes a hard group to coach, but this group this year, there's been a level of unselfishness. There's been a level of mentorship from the older guys to a talented younger group, and that's what it's all about.
What lessons can you take with what you all did on the offensive line this year and how you build that group moving forward?
I think a ton. I think I don't feel we brought in a bunch of guys that thought they were owed much. It was a bunch of guys that had something to prove, and we mixed that with the current guys that have been here. And so I think lesson one is always development and develop the guys you do have who can show the newcomers the ropes. But I do also think you got to bring guys in that have a lot to prove. And I think when you look at where Woolley came from and you look where Shiaz came from in particular, and Braun came from and what he had to prove, I just think those 5 guys in particular have really put their heads down and gone to work.
Coach, the offense has been a lot more up-tempo the past couple of weeks. Is that something you look to keep going for in the next coming games, and is it something that you really like what you've seen so far?
I think so. I know we've talked about every game has a life of its own. Certainly it just seems every week the volume of defense that we're seeing, and as good as people are as you get into later weeks and the formation and what the play is. And so for us, the ability to use tempo, number one, gets us to think less. You know, we got a lot of young players out there, as you guys know, not just whether it's Cutter, it's the receivers, so on and so forth. So it's plays that we know how to execute, plays that we've executed for a long time. And then we think, obviously, just like all of us, when you get tired, you know, you don't want to move as fast or you don't want to talk as much and communicate. And so I think those advantages for us have been critical.
How much have you seen defenses now countering to the changes you guys made schematically on offense?
Yeah, it's a back and forth. You know, again, it's tough. I think in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, you know, I think you look at Cutter's completion percentage to start. We're just going to try to take exactly what they're giving us, take easy completions over and over again. And so, you know, I think defensively it's the battle of, okay, we're going to give you those, you know, just because you don't want big plays to happen. But again, football will humble you quick. We know there has been improvement, but we have got to stay the course, keep improving. We got a big week coming up.
Coach Josh Braun was saying a couple weeks ago that when you're a transfer, it can sometimes be difficult to assimilate into the culture of your new spot, but that guys like Jagger and Josh Caddis really went out of their way to welcome the transfers. Did you witness any of that, or does that surprise you?
You know, I've kind of said it since I've been here. It starts at the top, and you know, Coach Stoops is as you know, authentic from a leadership standpoint as there is, and that generally filters down to the leaders and the leadership group, and then the rest of the players. And so I just have always felt, from a culture standpoint, the environment that he sets, you know, makes it easy in a way to bring new players into it, because I think they buy in quickly, and I think you're seeing that with that group.
Diego Pavia obviously gets the lion's share of attention when people talk about Vandy. But are there any guys on that defensive unit that kind of jump out at you off the tape and say, hey, this guy's really playing well?
Yeah, and you know, I won't get into the specifics, but it is a deep group for sure. You know, I think the nickel number 2 is as good a player as we've probably seen. He's extremely active all over the place. Again, what they've done a great job of is getting length at almost every position. I think you look at their back end, their corners are long, their defensive ends are long, their linebackers play extremely hard, and you know, so I just think to kind of see, again, being in the league, you know, 3 years ago and now being back in the league, the transformation they've had to acquire the talent they have that fits their scheme has been impressive.
Coach, it seems like, you know, about a month ago, it seemed like reaching a bowl game would, you know, be a far-fetched dream, but now, you know, you're on the brink of it. You know, do you feel like the guys feel any sort of pressure at all, knowing that, you know, one win wins the bowl game, and if so, you know, how do you keep that off of them going forward?
Probably. You know, I think that's natural for all of us when you have to battle back from where you started, and you know, naturally want to feel like this one is the biggest one. But I think we just all have to revert back to our experience, the players, the coaches, the understanding of, you know, we've coached in Sugar Bowls and we've coached in Final Four appearances, and it always just comes back to the process and sticking to what's got us there, one day at a time. You know, you got to be where your feet are, and where our feet are right now is we just finished a great Tuesday practice. We got a great opportunity for Wednesday, and as you know, in this profession, we know exactly where we're at every single minute of every single day, and so we just got to stick to that process.
I'm sure it's not an easy answer, but what's been the key to what you all were able to do on the line this year in terms of rebuilding that and the success that you've had in that position?
Well, I mean, I think first of all, it's a compliment to Coach Stoops, obviously, giving us the opportunity to go out and recruit some guys. Obviously, we know there's an expectation here of the way you're supposed to play up front. And, you know, I've said this before, you can't win the NASCAR, you can't win the Daytona 500 driving a tractor. I mean, you got to be in the game. You got to be able to match up with guys. And we went out and made a conscious effort of finding the right guys that were the right character, that love football. That football is important too. And, you know, I think that's been a big part. I think, you know, our staff, Coach Hamden, our whole offensive staff, you know, we've evolved offensively in doing things. And I mean, obviously, good quarterback play is a big part of any successful offense. And, you know, Cutter has a bright future, and, you know, he's continuing to learn things and those type of things. But, you know, if you have good quarterback play, it doesn't matter what league you're in, You look at the National Football League right now, if you don't have good quarterback play, you're going to have a problem.
You talk about the schematic changes. How does that affect your group out there?
I think the thing is like, on basic run plays, you got to create angles, and if they're not giving you the angles, then you got to get the better plays. At the same time is, you can't ask guys to maybe do some things that they can't do. For example, Kyle Shanahan for a long time has been a wide zone guy, and that's a certain profile of offensive lineman that you have to have. I think you have to do things that your guys can do and create angles in the passing game. Obviously, this is the SEC is no different than the NFL. You look at Texas, for example. What they've been doing recently up until they played Georgia. Just getting rid of the ball quick. Those are things you have to do. The pass rushers in this league, the way people create pressure. You got to have answers, and obviously we have to block the right people and get on them. But a lot of times you're in 5 one-on-ones, and you're matched up against guys that are playing on that side of the ball for a reason.
Marcus talked a little bit this season about the strength of the schedule and how hard it is to get young guys into the game when you're in so many close games for the most part. What's been the challenge of getting that next group of O-linemen up to speed?
Well, I think, we take opportunities during practice to spend a lot of time with those guys, pushing them. Sometimes, time permitting, we spend some time with them after practice. Sometimes during practice, we'll take the younger guys and go against the younger guys on defense and give them scrimmage reps and those type of things. But we're getting them reps, and I've seen a lot of growth from our young guys. I've got 2 true freshmen on that second group that have really progressed so far this season. I feel really good about their future.
I don't think Wimberly went in with that second group Saturday. Where's just his progress been as a guy?
He has a situation where he can still redshirt.
Okay.
So he has a redshirt here. So, my thing is we always want to do what's best for the program long term. So he has one more game that he can play in, and then still have a redshirt, and then still have 2 years left. So that would be a huge plus for us moving forward. And, you got to always look for the best interest of the player, continue to develop them. I think there's a development piece that takes place at this level. I say a lot of times, freshmen coming out of high school, sometimes it takes almost 2 years to get those guys ready to play at this level because of the physicality that you have to deal with up front on a day-to-day basis. You don't rotate offensive linemen for the most part. We played several teams. They'll have every 4 or 5 plays they'll rotate their D-line, whereas you need to have that chemistry at O-line.
Okay. Dude, since those guys haven't got a lot of game reps, what's the challenge in knowing whether they'll be ready next year, what the holes are?
I've done this long enough.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good feel for what we have moving forward, and I think the future looks bright. We'll fill in some guys here and there, but I'm really encouraged by our youth, some of the guys we have in place, and we'll pick up some guys again next year, just like always. It's kind of like free agency these days, and we'll pick up a few guys, but I'm encouraged by our young players and their moving forward.
Coach, you did bring in a bunch of new pieces to the line, but guys like Jagger Burton, Jalen Farmer, they've been here. What role did they play in bringing those new guys in to make sure there was chemistry for you guys this year?
I think one of the big things is obviously Jagger being a local guy really helped acclimate the guys just to Lexington in general. Don't ever take this place for granted. Lexington's a great place to live. I lived a lot of places. I know it's cold and rainy today, but it's a great place to live, and there's great people here. So he got a chance to get them out and show them around, places to eat, golf, fish, all that kind of stuff. Jagger organized a trip where they went down to Chattanooga and rented this big cabin and were out there playing around with bears and stuff. I'm like, you guys are absolutely crazy, but those kind of things. Jalen Farmer is a guy that was here a year earlier, and he was a transfer guy. So he can relate to the guys coming in, kind of letting them know what Wolf's like. And I think that's important too. You're coming here to elevate your draft stock if you're an upperclassman. Obviously help us win games and get better. And what's it going to be like? I always say this is not going to be a petting zoo. Follow me? We're coming here to work and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Part of what the changes you guys have made to the offense over the course of the season schematically, whatever, what's your favorite part of what you guys have
I think that being able to get the ball up quicker, giving the receivers a chance to, make people miss in open space, like guys like Kendrick Law, and just watching him, explode over the past couple of weeks has been really fun to watch. And just blocking for him, knowing that a lot of people know that he's going to get the ball. So just, it's just exciting to be able to block for a guy like that and play with a guy like that. So.
For the season, the receiver group have, gradually gotten better as the games are going on, especially, this past few weeks. Just how have you seen the room improve and got to where you are right now?
I mean, I think because our coaches, man, they stress like things like blocking. They stress just the little things, and I think that's just how we got better because we come in consistently every day at practice and really work on those things. And we hone in on those things every day. So, we love each other. We love playing for each other. I think that's the biggest thing is just that relationship that we have outside of the field that translate to the on-field success.
I think it's Coach Washington been for you, bro.
Yeah, he's been really big, man. He all holds us to a high standard, even the younger guys. That's what I love seeing about him. He holds those younger guys like they're vets, you know what I'm saying? So just teaching them veteran things early, he just holds us all to that standard. So he's just really big on relationships, really big on, having fun while we're doing it, because it's so easy to kind of get caught up in the numbers and the not success, but just always just, having fun while we're doing it. So.
And what's your impression of what Cutter's done over the last month?
Baller, man. That's a baller, man. I love watching him play, man. I remember my first time actually running routes with him when I first got here, and I was like, man, who is this guy? And they were like, he's just a freshman. I'm like, he's going to be really good. So I always knew he had the potential, and I think he's still got a bunch of levels that he could touch. He just doesn't probably even know it yet, but he's really good, man. I'm proud of him.
You mentioned the young guys earlier, seeing guys like DJ getting their moments a couple times throughout the games. And, how have you, as an older guy, kind of mentor them and help them come along?
Oh, yeah, that's all I do. I don't really worry about my success on the field or what's not happening in my life, but, man, honestly just impacting those guys and being a good mentor and a good leader for them, man, and just teaching them how to go about everyday practice, how they go about life in general. So, man, it's been really fun just to watch those guys, go in there and have the success that they deserve. You know what I'm saying? They work hard for it, so I'm proud of it.
Everybody that competes wants to go out there and do something bigger.
Yeah.
So do you view these last couple of weeks as an opportunity? I remember last season, you made a lot of big plays in the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at this point in life, man. I'm just like, whatever God has for me, he has for me. I don't really stress about making plays on the field as much anymore, man. I'm kind of just past it at these next, few weeks of this season. I've just been really wanting to just be here to impact the younger guys and encourage them, encourage my teammates, man, and just, be that helping hand for them. So.
You mentioned you get a lot of joy from working with those younger guys. You ever thought about coaching?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm actually thinking about doing it, soon in my life. So we're going to see wherever God takes me. I'm excited for that next chapter as well. So
there's a lot on the line for both teams this weekend. Are you excited to play in that kind of?
Oh, yeah, that type of environment? Oh, yeah, it definitely is, man. I think that the confidence that we've built over the past couple of weeks, man, is going to lead us into this game and getting a dub. And we know who we are. We just got to stay true to our identity and just respect their team as well, that they're a really good team. They're 8-2 for a reason, right? So just going out and play our brand of ball, just hard, and just physical, and just go out there and have fun. I think we'll get the job done.
Last year it seemed like the offense struggled throughout the season. Tough year last year, and this year you did struggle at first, but now you've gradually gotten better. How have you seen the transformation from last year to this year?
I think it's just us staying together, man, and not caving in. I think Coach Bush harped on that so much during those times, those hard times. We was losing to Ole Miss, Georgia, all these teams, and he was just like, don't cave in, keep going. And they had the confidence in us, just seeing that the coaches still had that confidence in us and not lose hope in us. And then I think that's what, we translated to each other, you know what I'm saying? So it just seeing us, seeing it all just being sold, man, it's a blessing to see. So we've been doing a really good job. Just got to keep pushing forward.
Some familiar faces for you out there on the other sideline this week. What's it going to be like seeing those guys again that you used to play with?
I mean, it'll be fun. It's really cool seeing my former colleagues excelling in different places in this conference. Obviously, I had an opportunity to meet Star Thomas from Tennessee, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well, or I guess I wouldn't say looking forward to, but just seeing them compete.
What makes Diego Pavia a fun guy to play with, I guess, as somebody who's done it before?
Back at New Mexico State, he found a way to win. He was a good leader.
For you guys in the offensive line, what's been key to kind of the chemistry you all have built throughout the year?
Well, being together and doing hard stuff together, that's for sure. And also just not getting too caught up in the mundane and being there for each other.
How important were guys like Jagger and Jalen, who were already here, in terms of bringing you new guys into the fold and building that right away?
Well, they were key culture guys. Jagger's a Lexington, or he's a Kentucky native, and you need people like that in the locker room. And within our O-line unit, he's been a foundational piece to our O-line unit. And Jalen Farmer, obviously coming in with a unique mentality and just an NFL caliber style of mentality and overall just physicality. Makes for a good bunch to follow after.
For this offensive line to be as relatively healthy as you all have been this year, have you ever been a part of a group, that has been able to be together for so long? And, in your words, what has gotten you all to this point to where you have been able to compete with each other as long as you have?
It's nice. We all take care of our bodies. We do the little things. We eat, sleep, hydrate, all of that stuff. I've been a part of the old O-line crew I was a part of back in New Mexico State for 4 years, and that's having key components within our O-line room, key players, a good O-line coach, creates a good culture, and it's a good time to be part of.
There's a lot on the line for both teams in this game. Is it kind of exciting to have this kind of matchup late in the season?
It'll be a good fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
What was that senior day moment like for you on Saturday? Obviously, you've only been here for a year, but to get there, that moment with your family, what were the emotions in that?
Well, it was very reminiscent. I had a brief opportunity to overlook my entire collegiate career, and it was bittersweet.
What's your favorite thing about how you all have changed the offensive scheme over the year, the changes Coach Hamden made after coming over this schematically? What do you like about that?
The changes?
Yeah.
Well, just how fast we kind of kicked into gear, and we weren't stuck in the mud per se. We just kept going, kept moving forward, kept marching forward. That's what I liked about it.
The coaches and players who have come up and talked to us today have said there's kind of an unselfishness about this team and the guys you play with. Have you been able to feel that and appreciate it as the season moved along?
Oh yeah, for sure. Everyone's buying in, everyone's doing their part, is what I'd say. Doing their part.